Our God, we thank you for this. This is an opportunity while the blood is flowing through our veins, while we inhale and exhale, that we might give praise to your holy and gracious name, that we might give praise and thank you for the weakness that you have risen up to fight against our enemies that are stronger than us. Yahweh God, we thank you for this day, and we pray that we may set our mind upon thee to overcome the things that would tear us down. We thank you, Yahweh God, for without you, we have no direction. Yahweh God, we thank you and pray that we may find our direction by your guidance. May you bless us and keep us and strengthen us. May your mercy never cease from us. And may we have an understanding, and may in that understanding to keep the commandments, may your spirit of obedience rest upon each and every one of us. May we love thee with a perfect love. Amen. So, we're going to, as we make reference to the scriptures in this Bible that tells us the story that we must embrace so that we might remember that which is most important to us. In the book of Malachi, chapter 4, in the book of Malachi, chapter 4, verse 4. It says, "Remember ye the Torah of Moses my servant, which I command unto him in Horeb, for all Israel with statutes and judgments." Yahweh God say, remember the Torah. In other words, there evidently would be an occasion for you to forget. So Yahweh would say, remember the Torah, and therefore, in so doing, we might reinstate ourselves when we come to the full understanding of what we would return and remember. Even in Numbers 15, Yahweh makes reference, Numbers 15:39. He says here, "And it shall be unto you for a friend, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of Yahweh and do them, and that ye seek not after your own hearts and your own eyes, after which you used to go whoring." So the law was to keep us in remembrance so that we would not forget. And we had, the remembrance was also on our garment, that it would be a fringe on us. And therefore, that fringe that Yahweh God would put upon our garment would be the zizi, that we would be able to look on it and to remember, to maintain our position, not as we see things, but as what was stated to us from our God. Yahweh God said, lean not on thy own understanding. He says, forget about how you see life. Let me tell you what pleases me, because I'm the creator of it. I'm the creator of life. Therefore, let me tell you about the creation so that the circumstances will go well with you. And it says here in Exodus it says, Exodus chapter 20, verse 8, he said, remember the Shabbat to keep it holy. He said, remember it. He said, remember it to keep it holy. Because in the time of your destitute, in the circumstances that will be pending against you, you will be able to find and have a focal point, because it says, he says in Exodus, remember the Shabbat. Why? He said the Shabbat is a sign. And he said, don't forget the Shabbat, because it's a sign to you and me. And therefore, if you forget it, you forget your sign. You forget something that is so valuable to you. And therefore, how can you find your way back? But once you begin to keep the Shabbat, then you're on your way, because you found the pathway through the darkness. And that's why it says, and the Jews, as it says here, the Jews seek a sign, and the Greeks seek knowledge. Therefore, the sign that we have sought was always before us if we would keep the Shabbat. But because we left it, then we didn't have no more sign. But now that we have returned to it, the sign is visible to us, because Yahweh told us what we can expect, because it is very important that we know our path, and our path is in the Torah. As long as we keep the Torah, we have a clear and understanding of what belongs to us. We can let our hands go. We can let the hands of others go, and we can sit comfortably in the word of Yahweh. In 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 22, he says, the Jews require a sign. They required a sign. But they had their sign because the sign was a Shabbat. He said, this is a sign between me and the sons of Israel, that they may know. In other words, how would you become clean again? How would you sanctify yourself? But in the Shabbat, that you would be clean by changing your ways. And it says, and the Greeks seek after wisdom. They sought one thing, and we sought another. So as we look in 1 Corinthians chapter 8, he says, because see, we must choose. And in our choice that we choose will make a difference in our lives. 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 5 say, for though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many. There be many gods, there be many lords. Okay, that's 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 5. In Micah tells you that there be many gods, that 1 Corinthians tells you, verse 8, chapter 5, there be many of them. And therefore, you have to make a choice. You understand? You know? And therefore, as you read this book, they give you information that you can make that choice, because in Micah chapter 4, verse 5, it says, what?
For all people will walk, everyone, in the name of his God.
In the name of his God. See, everybody, every people, because lords and gods there be many, you will walk in the name of your God. Whatever your God name is, that's what you're going to walk in. That's where we're going. It says, what? For all people will walk, everyone, in the name of his God. And what it says?
We will walk in the name of Yahweh our God forever and ever.
That's right. So Yahweh God is not stopping them from walking in the name, whatever name they decide they want to walk in. You understand? Because that name is important to them. It may not be important to me, but whatever name they walk in, that's their right to walk in that name and to thrive and to have prosperity in the name of their God. Let's go into St. John chapter 14 because it's very important. It says, let's go to St. John, that's 14, and it says here, verse 13.
And whatsoever ye shall ask in the name, in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If ye shall ask anything in my name, I will do it.
So it's even stating in the New Testament, St. John, chapter 14, verse 13, it tells you, because there be gods many and lords many. And it says in John 15, verse 16, ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you, and ordained you that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain. And whatsoever you shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you. So this is telling you how important it is, and people are walking in the name of their God. And therefore, in the name of their God, that is written in the New Testament, that they have claimed, it is also mentioned the very importance of that name to them. And therefore, as it is important for them to know the God that they serve and the name that they would prescribe for themselves to call upon, so that they would have access to that which is relative for themselves, so that they might move on in the earth in the name of their God. And as it says in Acts chapter 3, okay, ye are the children of the prophets and of the covenant which Elohim made with your fathers, saying unto Abraham, and in thy seed shall all kindreds of the earth be blessed. Unto you first God have risen up his Son. And he says, send him to bless you in turning away every one of you from his iniquity. And that's Acts chapter 3, verse 25. Acts chapter 4, verse 12 said, neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. So he said there's only one name that can save you. And therefore, that name that they say could save you, they give homage to it. They give respect to it, because he said there's no other name, it says, under heaven that you might, it says here, and I'm at Acts chapter 4, and I'm reading at verse 8. Then Peter, full with the Holy Ghost, and said unto them, ye rulers of the people and elders of Israel, if we this day be examined of the good deeds done to the important men, by what means he is made whole, be it known unto you all, and to all the people of Israel, that by the name of what they call Christ of Nazareth, whom ye crucified, whom God rose from the dead, even by him does this man stand before you whole. This is the stone which was set at naught of you builders, which is become the head of the corner. Neither is there any salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby you must be saved. So I'm saying to you is that as there be gods many and there be lords many, and the circumstances is relative to the God that you decide that you're going to serve. And therefore that's why it says every man shall walk in the name of his God. And so even in the children of Israel, it is made statement to verify the same thing, where it says every man shall walk in Micah, every man shall walk in the name of his God. Whatever God he chose. In the book of Proverbs chapter 18, verse 10, the name of Yahweh is a strong tower, the righteous runneth into it and is safe. He said he runneth into it and is safe. He tells you, he said the righteous runneth into it and is safe. So when we read this book and we see that as it says in the New Testament about the name of the God that they desire to serve, and that if they confess his name that they will be saved, this through his name. And Yahweh God, and I will show you, this through his name, they say you will be saved by calling his name. In the book of Joel chapter 3, Joel chapter 2 verse 32. Okay? Joel chapter 2 verse 32.
And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of Yahweh shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, and as Yahweh hath said, and in the remnant from whom Yahweh shall call.
So he said, and it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of Yahweh shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as Yahweh said, and in the remnant whom Yahweh shall call. So Yahweh said that the salvation is in his name. You understand? This is in the Old Testament. The New Testament claims Christ. But are they wrong? It says no, because it says every man shall walk in the name of his God. And if that's your God, that's whose name you walk in. Yahweh's our God, we walk in that name. But it says, and the righteous shall run into it. So the thing is that you want to know to be righteous, so when you run into the name, and what makes a person righteous in Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 25 gives you the key. See, the Deuteronomy chapter 6 verse 25. Chapter 6 verse 25.
And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahweh our Adonai, as he hath commanded us.
Yes, see, the thing is this, is that in righteousness, you can only obtain righteousness in keeping of the commandments. There's no other way. It gives you access to the name of Yahweh that you might live in it. This is like when we go to the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel tells you a story, because who doesn't look for guidance? We all look for guidance, but many times those that we look for guidance from are the ones that do us the most harm. And therefore, in Ezekiel chapter 13 verse 22, what it says?
Because with lies ye have made the heart of the righteous sad, whom I have not made sad, and strengthened the hands of the wicked, that he should not return from his wicked way.
That's right.
But promising him life.
That's right. See, he told him, he said, the outward presence that you manifest is that you show a preference of kindness to wicked people. And therefore, the righteous become sad because he cannot obtain the full of justice when he brings something to you, or something is taken advantage of, or the wicked man is put in place, that he in his position, instead of executing that which is right, he executes that which is wrong, that brings sadness to those that are righteous. And therefore, Yahweh God says in Proverbs, and let's go back to Proverbs, because see, when the wicked man is put in place, we have to know that the wicked man is you have to find your own way with him. But when you understand his end, and it says in Proverbs chapter 4 verse 19, Proverbs chapter 4 verse 19,
the way of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble.
see, so it said the way of the wicked is darkness, and they know not where they stumble. Let's go on to see how valid this scripture is to make us, that we might begin to become ready. Because let's go to Proverbs 13. Proverbs 13 sets something that we have to do for ourselves. Proverbs 13 verse 9 says,
The light of the righteous rejoice, but the lamp of the wicked shall be put out.
see, the lamp of the wicked shall be put out. Why? Because in the book of Joel, if the lamp of the wicked shall be put out, and the book of Job, it tells you something of his position, you should become frightened. Because Job 9:24, Job 9:24, Job 9:24,
Job
9:24.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Okay, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. And therefore it tells you that the lamp, and he walks in darkness. So you're in trouble if you can't find something to make sure you have light. Because even in Habakkuk, and I'm going to come back to that, but I just want to show you, we're on our own. You know what I'm saying? You on your own. Ain't nobody gonna help you. If you don't sit down there and understand, when the light of these people go out of this earth, you're in trouble. Because they strengthen. I'm at Habakkuk. Habakkuk, when things was of such, it was told to them in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 2. What does it say?
Yahweh answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it.
Yeah, see, we reading this stuff. And he said, make it plain. Make the circumstances plain, so that he that readeth might run. Because the circumstances is going to become that aggravating, because the wicked is ruler of this planet. Who do you think ruling this planet? And they have made you sad. And their light, when it goes out, what light do you have? What circumstances that is pending for you, for your betterment? Let's go to Psalm, before I explain to you your light. And you can't have your light no other way. Let's go to Psalm 9. Because Yahweh know the circumstances that is prevailing, that is pending, is aggravating. He knows it. He knows it's aggravating. Because he says, I'm angry with the wicked every day, because the wicked do something that is stupid every day. They don't miss the inhale and exhale of their breath to do something that is displeasing to God. And he says here, I'm at Psalm 9 verse 18. What does it say?
For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever.
Yeah, see, he said for the needy. You know, he's encouraging you. He's saying, man, I got to encourage the people. Because they have made them and put them in the circumstances. And Yahweh God is saying, for the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Let's go into the book of Revelation to clarify that Yahweh God, Revelation 2, verse 9. Because Yahweh knows these things have been brought on by the deviousness and viciousness and inhumaneness, those that have no feeling of equality. What does it say?
I know the works. I know thy works and tribulation.
See, he said your tribulation, that which has befallen you by those that are unrighteous. Where Yahweh said, I didn't make them do these things. You understand? You have to understand is that people will blame God and say, well, God, He knows these things. That the people that's doing it know it because they wouldn't want it done to them. You understand? You blame God, blame the persons that are doing the unrighteous act. You think that Hitler and the slave trade, you think that if they had it reversed, they would want it done to them? Of course not. Nobody would want that type of savagery to happen to them. So don't blame God. Look at the people that's doing it. You think the crook that come in your house to rob you want to be robbed? No. You think he has a flag up to say, hey, come over here to my house and rob me? Or I'm a murderer, so I want to be murdered? No. Their very act judges against them. Because what? They wouldn't want it done to them. So the very nature of his action should tell you that the punishment, he's worthy of the punishment according to the action, because he wouldn't want it done to him. You understand? Do you really think these white people in the United States of America would want to have drugs pushed in their community by the very system that they support? No. Yes, these people sell drugs, but somebody's pushing it in. It's getting through somewhere. And I'm saying to you, they wouldn't want it in their own neighborhood. And therefore, the judgment stands firm. And the judgment stands against them that whatsoever man doeth, that shall he reap. An eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, burning for burning. There's nothing fair than you get what you've done. That's fair. Pound for pound, ounce for ounce. Ask yourself before you do any wicked act, would you want it done to you? And the answer going to be no. If you ask the devil, would he want another devil to do to him? He said no. So the point is, you shouldn't execute that action. So he says, I know thy works and thy tribulation. What?
And poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
Yeah, see, Satan rules in the synagogue. Satan rules there because the viciousness that's there is the habitation that the devil stirs up, and therefore it comes out into the community, and it allows them to do things that they would not want in their community. They sit and plot because the devil has anointed them. And therefore, as it says, when that light goes off, what are you to do? It says, and to go further, if we go back to the book of Proverbs, and Proverbs tells you of the delusion where you have read that Yahweh God is sending a comfort to you. He's comforting you. He's telling you and comforting you so that you will see that things might appear one way, but they're another way. Let's go to Proverbs 13, verse 7. See the appearance. He said, I know thy works in thy tribulation, but thou art rich. See, he said, you're rich. He told you, he says, you know, your expectation ain't going to always be forgotten. So what does he say here? Proverbs 13, 7.
There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing. There
Yeah.
is that maketh himself poor, and yet riches.
Yeah, see, there is that making himself rich, yet has nothing. When the wicked man works his wicked schemes,